It's tempting to fish deep water for summer walleye. But up next, Fish Head's Jon Thelen reveals a surefire system for fishing shallower sweet spots.
There's one on there right there. Like a decent fish. Yeah, it is. It's up on the surface already. It's a little bit different deal that we're doing here. You know, you get to this early August, July time frame, and late July time frame, most people think that you need to be fishing deep. You need to be fishing that stuff way out there, and what we're doing is fishing an extension of a shoreline. We're trolling cranks for walleyes that are left over, and when I say left over, what I mean is there's fish like this one right here that never leave. As long as there's food here, they'll stay here all year long. Traditionally, you think of a spot like this being more of a spawning type area in the spring area. But here's what happens. These fish, a lot of them, every year will never leave that shallow stuff. This guy right here, he's never gone out deep. There's been no reason for him to. He's been able to stay right in here on this stuff and eat all summer long. So here we are rolling into that August time frame now. And while you're thinking you gotta go deep, it's the most important thing in the world to go out to the middle of the lake and go deep. Let me tell you something, a lot of times, you drive right past a lot of fish that have stayed put ever since that spawn because there's still food here. As long as there's food here, a certain amount of those fish will never leave. I'm fishing 22 feet of water, an extension off the shoreline here. What we're doing is trolling it to cover ground, because one of the things I will tell you is that when you're fishing a spot like this, you are gonna find out that there's a few less fish because a lot of them have bailed. So you want to use a technique and a tactic that's going to allow you to cover some ground. So that's why we're trolling cranks. But it's a really simple deal. I mean, I'm just fishing a sand bottom here. It's easy to troll. I'm just trolling 3-4 feet up off the bottom, and I'm just varying myself back and forth between 18 to 21 feet. And I'm picking off fish that are still sitting in here, and they've been here all year long. Everybody's just driving right by them. Sometimes if you just stop and fish it, you find out that there's a lot of fish on it. And part of the reason I'm doing it, you can see I've got a pretty decent little wind here blowing out of the northeast. And we're in the northeast corner of this lake. Ultimately, I guarantee you over there, she's rocking pretty good. So I've just kind of chosen a spot where I think I can pick off some fish. And I think I can pick off some fish along this whole area as long as I find those drop-offs. And that's what I'm fishing, is just a drop-off based on that shoreline structure. It's just an underwater point coming out. There's one right there. Oh yeah, feels like a pretty decent one too. That one actually feels like a bigger fish. When I say bigger, I don't know, he feels like a really good one though. I just reached over and kind of tinkered with the depth I was running this. One of the things I'll do in here in this shallower water is I'll mess around a lot with how deep I'm running my cranks. And I just dropped this one down a little bit, went a little closer to the bottom. Just trying to reach down a little more. Yeah, good walleye. Just trying to reach down a little bit deeper and put it right in front of them, because they don't seem crazy about just racing around and whacking it today. So I figured, you know what, let's just go down there a little deeper, put it right over their heads. And you know what? Paid off on this one right here. It's another great fish. This is cool. And what's so cool about this is I'm always hunting, and I suppose this comes from my days of tournament fishing and my days of guiding. I'm always hunting for spots where I can be alone. I don't really want to fish around people most of the time. So I'm always looking for those spots where I can fish by myself. So what I'm doing is I'm running a point that comes out off the shoreline right here, and I'm fishing the deeper side of it, okay? Over there, there's a little bit of a flat. I'm fishing that deeper side. By this time of the year, most of those fish aren't out there on that flat. In the spring, they might have been over there, okay? Because they're just spawning, they're filtering out, and they're not really following a route. But by this time of the year, when you're looking for those fish that are left over, find where the break is. And there's a little bit of a break here. It's just 3-4 feet, but the water deepens out as you go this way. If you go that way on this thing, it shallows up. So I'm just looking for that deeper side. When you're on the deeper side, a lot of times you're gonna catch more fish. So that's the number one thing I'm looking for. And then the number two thing I'm looking for is just something with some length on it, because I'm trolling cranks. I really don't want a short little point. I don't wanna be going like this nonstop around it. I wanna be running a point that gives me a nice long run. And this one here is about a mile long. I mean, I get a nice long run on this deal. So that's what you wanna look for. If you can find that deal where you got a break, you had some deep water, and you got some distance on that point, it's really easy to pull cranks on it. There's one on there right now. Look at that. I came up shallow, made a shallow pass on the top side, just shortened it up to 110. Didn't see this fish on the graph. Just goes to show you that the thing about trolling, you know, if you're trolling a slower presentation right now, you know, say you're a spinner or a Lindy rig, whatever it may be, when these fish are scattered. I didn't see this fish. I was actually paying more attention to the graph than the rod. Turned around, it was doubled over. What that tells you is we just grabbed this fish's attention from a little ways away. And that's what makes trolling so effective when you get to this summer transition time, because these fish, you can get their attention from a distance, because they're all spread out. I mean, that's the thing you got to remember. With all this food, these fish get far more spread out. They don't have to be schooled up the way they were earlier. Once they get spread out, oh boy, we got him. That one was making me a little nervous. I saw him on that back hook. Look at that, he got himself unhooked. Great fish. Ow, ooh, geez. Got me good there. All right, let's just get him out of here. There, he's rolled over the way I want him now. I'll show him to you, and then we'll talk a little bit about the lures and what I'm using and why I'm using it. Another great eye. Just grabbed his attention. That's all there is to it. Grabbed his attention, got him to bite. Get out of here, buddy. Let me show you what we're using today. Real simple deal, man. One of the first ever crankbaits designed specifically for walleyes. It's Cotton Cordell Walleye Diver. And that's what I'm using today. Awesome bait, couple reasons. One, emulates a lot of different baits, okay? This Walleye Diver, it could be a shiner minnow, it could be a perch, there's a lot of different things it could be. Got a rattle inside it. So when I'm trolling along trying to grab these fish's attention, like that one right there, I've got some noise I'm making. But it's just got an awesome action. I mean, when it really comes down to it, it looks like a shiner minnow, it looks like a perch, whatever you want it to be. It really looks like what these walleyes are eating. And you know, you can go to the larger size and get a wider wobble, or you can fish that smaller version like I'm fishing here today, and it's a little bit more subtle. But man, just an awesome bait, been around forever. It's always been one of my favorites, because when it comes down to it, it catches fish everywhere too. Doesn't matter where I go, I'm catching fish on a big water, small water, whatever it may be. It's Cotton Cordell Walleye Diver. Let's dump that back in. Get us another one. Man, this is fun. This is just fun fishing. There's one. Oh yeah. Feels like good fish. They've all been good today. You know, we're not catching giants. One thing I'll tell you about this is a lot of times those bigger fish are gone. You'll get some big fish in here. When I say big fish, I mean, I'm not talking giants, but you'll get some better fish. But what you will get pretty consistently is those 14 to 20-inch fish. You know, a lot of those eaters that you're looking for so often at this time of the year. Just getting to our leader here. We're close. This is a better fish. This fish is a little bit wound up and making it, he's staying down. I'm gonna just slow us down a little bit here. Not much, I don't want to take the pressure off him, but he's staying down like he's a better fish, so let's just make sure here. We're to the leader, I only got 23 feet to go. I haven't seen him yet. Usually by now they're on the surface if it's a smaller fish, but this one here, he's got a little bit of weight to him. He's gonna see the surface any minute and get wound up again. 10 feet. Yeah, this is a good fish, I'm not sure. It's a really nice fish. There he goes the other way. Oh yeah, there he is. He's not as good as I thought, but he's a good fish. Look at that. Thought he was a little bit bigger than that, but awesome walleye. Man, this has been a super fun day of fishing. Just because, look at that, popped him right out for me. Had some weed in him, look at that. That's awesome. Super fun day of fishing though, just because we've been able to go out and do something that nobody else is doing. And we've been able to just sit and catch them. Put on crankbaits in this situation, cover some ground, don't be afraid to fish stuff that not too long ago, everybody figured the fish had left. If you fish these areas, there's always some fish here. It's just a question of going in there, putting in some time. Go in there and look with your electronics. That's the other thing. You know, I went in here, I did a drive-by, and I saw fish on the screen. Zigzag, do some looking, and when you see them, go ahead and fish them. Just fish an aggressive tactic that covers ground, and you'll be able to get them like we have today. That's awesome.